The crypto market has just got the biggest warning it's had in a decade. We've seen things come out from Tom Lee. We've seen things come out from Raoul Pal. We've seen things come out from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Anything you can possibly imagine. But there is a signal that nobody's talking about in regards to our current economy because it's not directly tied to crypto. And if you want to understand everything that's going on with crypto, you need to understand the overall picture with the broader macroeconomic state. Because right now, crypto is speculative. It's going to follow what the rest of the stock market and what the rest of the global economy is going to do. The the biggest confusion is that Bitcoin is in charge of crypto, and it's just not. Bitcoin follows the overall tech sector, and therefore crypto follows Bitcoin after that. That part is true. So what do we have to worry about? What is the warning? Well, there's a few, but there's one big one, and I'm going to get to that as we get closer to the end. But the biggest warning, or one, well, not the biggest warning's at the end, but one of the big warnings that most people need to pay attention to is this is more of the same. Now, I mean, this is the longest downturn we've seen, but we've seen these cycles every single time, and FOMO rushes in at the top, and then sentiment goes away. Everyone sells off all the way down. We can see it as clear as day every single cycle. Sentiment is at its absolute lowest that it's ever been in the history of crypto, and that's while our economy is up right now. This is something that we need to pay attention to. Gold's at all-time highs. Silver's at all-time highs. Tech stocks have hit all-time highs. Very few cryptos hit all-time highs last year. Now, crypto since then has completely fallen off a cliff. We have information on why that could possibly be. We have a ton of information today. We have news today. We have things about XRP. And again, if you are here in this channel, then you should know by now we are here for the long view, and we're here for my total infrastructure play, the 5 pillars, if you will: XRP, Canton Network, Chainlink, HBAR, and Ondo. These are what I invest in every single month. But back to the warning. Well, we usually get into price first, but I want to discuss the warning. Let me see if I can find it really quickly on X. If you want to follow me on X, you can. It's at Longview Crypto. Treasury yields edge higher ahead of the Fed minutes. This is normally not a good sign for risk on assets. Normally that would indicate a more rotation to treasury assets. But I want to find this about the housing market. So here's another thing. Altcoin sell pressure just hit a 5-year extreme. For 13 straight months, altcoins have seen continuous net selling on CEX spot markets. Retail is largely out. Smart money has rotated, and there's still no clear sign of institutional accumulation. This isn't just a dip. What do they mean? Do they mean it's crashing? Do they mean that that's bullish? Do they mean that something's going to come out on the long run? Let me get to my bookmarks, because I know I have this housing data in here, but I have a ton of videos for you guys and a ton of news, but I really want the housing data, because the housing data is important. Let me find it. It's almost there. I had it in yesterday's stream. I have a ton of news that I always go through on the bookmarks, but come on, where are you at? There we go. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So right now, housing is the most unaffordable that it has ever been. Higher than what we dealt with when we had the 2008 housing crisis. Okay. Wages, unemployment have not been keeping up, although they've been improving, but the median income has gone up like 18%, whereas the median household is like 30% as far as how much it costs to have a house. So what happens when people can't afford housing? Well, they have to pay for their housing, so then they stop buying extras. Then they stop paying their credit cards. Then they stop paying for insurance. And it's a cycle that continues. We are at the top of this housing bubble for 2025, 2026. If people can't afford to pay their mortgage, they're not going to be able to afford to pay for other things. That's bad for the overall economy. Now, is this going to pop? That is the question. If it does pop, what does that mean? Well, we saw what happened in 2008. Not saying that we are going to have another bubble pop like we had in 2008, but it's a warning. Something has to give. Everyone wants to know, When's alt season? When are we going to have a super cycle? What's going to win? Now, when we are in a period like this, when we're talking about extreme volatility, there will be winners, but there's going to be more losers than there are winners when we move into this. So what are the winners going to be? What are the winners going to be centered around? Well, the winners are going to be centered around utility. When we're getting into a point where assets might be depreciating in value, such as housing, what have we seen this year? We've seen housing skyrocket. We've seen gold skyrocket. We've seen silver skyrocket. We've seen extreme volatility in the safest of the assets, right? The least amount of volatility is supposed to be in real estate, gold, and silver. And we're seeing pockets of extreme volatility in the most stable of assets. That is concerning. Now, can we profit off of volatility? Absolutely. If you have the know-how to do so, great. You can profit off the volatility. You can profit off of the swings. You can profit off of the ups and downs. Now, am I saying there's not going to be an alt season? Am I saying there's going to be a crash? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I always tell you guys, I'm going to show you all the news, good, bad, and indifferent. And when we're looking at the three most stable pieces, gold, silver, and real estate, all hitting pockets of extreme volatility around the same time, that is a warning. Could we go lower? Yes, we could go lower. Could we go higher? Absolutely, we could go higher. That's why we dollar cost average in over time, but we have to be aware of the risks as investors. And I'm going to tell you the things that no one else tells you in crypto. So because when we're looking at that, I mean, crypto is not in charge. Bitcoin is not in charge. You can look at the overall economy and get an idea of that. Look at the stock market. Everything's at all-time highs except for crypto. It's like a crypto winter right now. Now, let's get into all the information here. I have news for you, but before we get into the news, yes, I do have an active trade going right now. I know you guys like it when I have an active trade, something we can keep tabs on. So I do have an active trade on the Bitcoin micro futures right now. I am short on it, so currently I'm up a few bucks as it continues to go down. We'll see if that continues as we go throughout the stream. We will keep an eye on it. Of course, these are my trades. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is just what I do in my own personal time, and it is my own opinion. Always do your own research. Investing comes with the risk of loss. Now that I got the legal disclaimer out the way, let's take a look at pricing. And again, guys, keep the chat going. I do appreciate it. We will do the live Q&A like we always do. Bitcoin ran up this morning and then ran down. I was in this trade, damn it, and that was really unfortunate. I was actually in this trade and I had my stop set at 66,800 and it wicked down to stop me out right before it ran up. So I missed out on about $120 of profit just because of that. But what can you do? You do the best you can with what you got. And that's what Charles is asking. He's asking how the trade from last night went. If you guys, so what I do in my free time, I literally play video games and trade Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing in my free time right now. I usually make about, I can usually make about $500 to $1,000 a week just safely trading. But if you guys ever get bored, that's what I do in my free time. I have a second channel. It's called Dadcraft Live. I'll put the link in the description for you. But I do live Bitcoin trading and play World of Warcraft at the same time. That's what I do in my spare time. Make money while I play WoW. So this is what we're doing here. We're at 67,000 on Bitcoin. Let me get back into this. I got distracted. XRP currently at $1.45. Again, chopping. Waiting for Bitcoin to decide what it's going to do. Right now, XRP is consolidating between $1.65 and $1.11. Those are our highs and lows right now that we're working between as we wait to see what Bitcoin's going to do in response to the overall economy, right? That's Bitcoin's waiting on permission from the rest of the world. Now, we do have informarity. If I could learn to talk today, the stream would be a lot better, right? We do have information on the Clarity Act. We're going to cover that as well as soon as I get into all of the news. And I see more and more people coming in. I appreciate all of you. I'll do a recap as we get a little bit further into it, talking about the warning I was discussing involving investing in crypto. So I did discuss the housing market one, but really quick, while we're sitting here looking at price, when we're discussing the housing market and we're discussing investing, another warning people should have learned, hopefully by now, in the third cycle of dollar cost averaging in and not putting all of your eggs in one basket and all of your eggs under one narrative, especially narratives that you hear on YouTube or on X, okay? Twitter crypto is not real crypto. That's why we go over the news and try to take it apart and actually understand what we're doing today. We have to know where we are today, and we have to know the reality of what the assets are today so we know where they're going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I'm about the long view, not necessarily making money today, tomorrow, or next week, although I do day trade and scalp and stuff like that. More swing trade than anything else from time to time. But the bulk of my investment comes from long-term dollar cost averaging in over time. Now, we're taking a look at what's going on in the XRP ledger. We actually check real utility every single day before we get to the news because we want to see what's actually taking place on ledger, because we do have some important information in regards to the XRP ledger today. We will talk about that right now. And I see you guys going off in the chat. I appreciate it. Keep it rolling. So one thing we follow on this channel that no one else follows is the account set activity. We've been watching it spiked and maintained for the last 3 to 4 months. This is institutional onboarding. There's nothing else it could possibly be. We even got a like from David Schwartz in regards to my tweet about the account set activity. Now, that being said, we need to see it translate into payments activity. Account set activity is nice, but until we actually start getting real payments activity, it doesn't mean anything. So we have had a run up since Christmas in the payment activity, got over 2 million for a couple days. It fell back down, and now we're running up again. Why would it start to be increasing today? Did something happen today? Because I do think something happened today. And again, our 5 core pillars are Canton Network, XRP, Chainlink, HBAR, and Ondo, and Canton Network is doing well. It's my hedge against Bitcoin. It does not move with Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does, it seems to do the opposite. So that is my hedge against Bitcoin. I love it. I've been all over it. It's almost equal to XRP for me. Not quite, but almost. So let's take a look and see what's actually happening today. We have news. We have lots of news. We're going to cover all of the news. Let me get to the bottom of the news. How many times can I say the news? So I covered this yesterday, but first, let's start with the sentiment around the Clarity Act right now.
So I was right. I took a rash of shit for 2 years, but I was right. And everyone was wrong.
We hope that's us here in a couple of years, right? Our massive trade deal with Japan has finally launched. Japan is now officially and financially moving forward with the first set of investments under its $550 billion commitment to invest in the United States of America. Blah, 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 blah. Will that impact crypto directly? I don't know. Crypto Basic, after topping Solana, XRP looks to overtake BNB in tokenized real-world assets as it adds 354 million in 30 days. While the XRP price has struggled amid broader market downturn, its tokenization market has thrived, adding 354 million in 30 days. The latest additions have brought XRP's total real-world asset value to over 1.874 billion, including distributed and represented assets, while excluding stablecoins. This places the XRP ledger 6th amongst the largest networks by tokenized real-world assets, immediately behind BNB chain with 2.3 billion. The XRPL's journey to the 6th position saw it surpass Solana, which currently boasts 1.7 billion in RWA assets excluding stablecoins. Now, the XRPL looks to overtake BNB chain as the 5th largest chain, requiring an additional 400 million to achieve this feat. Let's look at number 1 on this list real quick, folks. Again, the crypto nobody talks about that we've been talking about for 2 months now. Okay? Canton Network sitting at number 1 in the last 30 days. All I can do is lead you guys to the news, let you make up your own minds. XRP activates its member-only DEX for Wall Street. The XRP ledger has enabled its XLS81 permission DEX, allowing only approved participants to trade on-chain. This is designed for regulated institutions that require strict access controls tied to KYC and AML compliance. So the DEX is now live. And remember, XRP sits in the middle as the auto bridge for the DEX. So we should start seeing a ramp up in activity. This, again, is just the first day that this has gone live, but we're going to see more and more and more things go live this year, especially once we get clarity. Okay, we do have more information on clarity. We're going to cover that, so stick with me. We're going to get to everything, and I will do a recap for everyone who came in late. I appreciate everyone taking your time to be here. Your time is your most valuable asset, and I will never take it for granted. Make sure you hit the like button if you're still hanging around too, and keep the chat rolling for me, guys. Let's see. Analysts predict XRP to hit $70 by July. The pseudonymous and aptly named Crypto Bull believes that Ripple's XRP is lined up to reach $70 by the end of June. The prediction is intuitively ridiculous. That would mean a 47x increase from current prices and a market cap of nearly $5 trillion, which again seems impossible. However, it does show that potentially blind optimism still exists in select pockets of the crypto ecosystem. So again, when you see people still shouting out $70 XRP, $100 XRP, $1,000 XRP, relax, take it with a grain of salt. Dominoes can fall without price action, okay? We're here for the long view, not for an epic rush this year. However, I would love to be wrong. If it happens, great. I'm still rich. It happened faster than I thought. But I'm expecting this to happen over 5 to 10 years, not over 5 to 10 months. You know what I mean? White House to hold another crypto meeting on the Clarity Act this Thursday. So another meeting between banking officials and crypto officials at the White House on Thursday. Again, not a vote, not the banking committee, not any of those things, just trying to discuss the stablecoin issues so they can get this thing pushed across the finish line. They are still actively working on it. Trump did put a deadline of March 1st to get it through the Senate. We'll see if that actually happens. We've seen a lot of people predicting that by the end of April it should be done. Again, I'm still saying I think it gets done right before midterms, but that's just me, my opinion. Great news for the XRP ledger. Ripple's Luke Judges confirmed the issuer account. Social General Forge has officially launched its MiCA compliant stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Again, MiCA compliant European stablecoin now on the XRP ledger. This is a big deal. Again, we talked about this. We need to have more things to switch between. Once we start getting like an RL yen or an RL yuan or an RL rupee or an RL pound or an RL euro, whatever it is, the more different stable coins there are that they are trying to transact cross-border, the more auto-bridging XRP is going to do. And the more auto-bridging XRP does, the more transactions, the more burn, the more use case, the more utility, all of the things that we have been saying about XRP. It's finally getting to the point where it could fulfill its role, but it's just the beginning. We need to see it actually prove results. So 10 trillion per day. That's the US repo market, not DeFi, not crypto trading, repo, the liquidity backbone of global finance. We've talked about repo a lot, okay? And according to the VP of Frax Finance, 3 infrastructures are positioned to bring it on chain. Canton Network, Layer 0, and Tempo. Remember, Canton Network is already doing repo with Broadridge.
This morning, I was looking into the repo market, right, which is doing like $10 trillion in the US every single day. And we're actually starting to see a lot of that come on chain as well. I was looking at, Broadridge is using this DLR product. They're doing like $250 billion a day. Most of this is happening on Canton Network, which makes it a little bit difficult to really understand like where it's happening or what's happening. But how are you guys approaching some of these facilities around just pure cash and thinking about, okay, how can we help facilitate, some of these big, large capital transfers that happen on a rolling daily basis? given that you guys have the liquidity on both sides of the aisle?
Yeah, we're definitely well positioned to bridge that gap between DeFi and TradFi. I mean, we're not at the level of trillions of treasuries that are happening on Canton, but we are a validator on Canton. We do take bets on ecosystems that we think have a ton of potential, and Canton is definitely one of those. Their partnership lineup is insane. I mean, they have every single major bank signing on to be a partner, and they've built from a customer first standpoint in terms of talking to these institutions and figuring out what they need. And that's why they're so privacy focused, because that's one of the things that came out of those discussions. They were, working on privacy before privacy became a narrative in crypto. Another one of those is Layer Zero. They just launched their network. We use Layer Zero as our cross-chain provider. So we will definitely be working closely with them on that. And then I think one other one is Tempo. Tempo has so much potential in the stablecoin payment space, and we just released a blog post with them. We're the first stablecoin protocol to build on their TIC20.
So Canton Network, Layer Zero, and Tempo. Well, I have two of those. I have a dart throw out on Layers on Zero, but I do have my stack of Canton. Again, repo, trillions of dollars in that market, and it's just getting started. They've only touched like 250 billion, and there's so much more to come when it comes to that. XRP, Deutsche Bank is betting on Ripple Power. Not really sure what the heck this has to do. It says show the original. So this was tweeted out of the Deutsche Bank saying that they are supporting or betting on Ripple Power, or whatever the heck that means. Silvana says we're building on Canton Network because private matching needs on-chain settlement. Canton's built-in privacy, secure atomic transactions, and bridgeless interoperability are a perfect fit for Silvana's off-chain order matching and agentic order flow. The architecture fits because the principles align. Vanguard and Canton Network, Theramune, changed their ticker today to CNTC, went live. It's a Canton DAT company. Vanguard owns 1.67% of it. Broadridge owns 11.95% of it. But Vanguard owns 12.9% of Broadridge. Don't forget, also holders of the CNTN or Canton DAT are ARK Invest and BlackRock. We saw that yesterday. Do your own research. Just in, Lehman Bird says Hedera doesn't strictly need post-quantum TLS for security, but layered protection is better. When our libraries update, we'll switch it on. No slowdown, no added cost, he said today. So what does he have to say about privacy?
Are talking to each other. The mainnet nodes, they encrypt all the traffic going back and forth, and they have to agree on the key to use to encrypt it. Really, we don't actually need that. We'd be secure even without it. We could just send it in the clear. But it's nice to be able to encrypt it. It's one more layer of security. And for that, we need key agreement. We use TLS. When you go to a secure website, that's what keeps you secret. You go to HTTPS instead of HTTP. You go into a secure website, a little lock appears on your browser or whatever. That is TLS. And we use that between our mainnet nodes when they're talking to each other. And right now, the encryption part of it is fine, but the key agreement part of it could be broken someday when we have big quantum computers. So 10 years from now, maybe that would be broken. Not a big deal, don't really need it for security, but it's kind of nice. And the same thing when somebody submits a transaction to the network. You can do it unencrypted, or you can use TLS, and that would be breakable. Now again, no one's going to steal your money based on it, but maybe it makes front-running easier if someone could break it. So it'd be good to have that be post-quantum. Good news, NIST, this is the government body that does these things, has had a contest for almost 10 years. It started 10 years ago this December, so we're almost up to the 10-year point. And they had a contest where the very top cryptographers all around the world tried to find algorithms that would survive the quantum computer revolution when it comes. And what they did is they finally agreed on algorithms for doing this. They agreed on a way of doing key agreement. ML-Kim, it's called Kyber, like Kyber crystals that make your lightsaber in Star Wars work. And it turns red if you turn to the dark side. That is what they named it, and that is now the standard. And people are putting this into TLS. TLS 1.3 is getting a new version that has this. And people are doing this. Apple just added this in November or December.
Okay. That's kind of boring. So he's saying we don't have to worry about quantum. It's whatever. He's saying we don't have to worry about it. Of course, the people who aren't prepared for it are going to say, oh, you don't have to worry about it. But, you know, we all know that XRP is quantum safe, and as well as some others that are starting to get in their quantum safe. Ethereum's working on theirs. Now, remember, we talked about the Winklevoss twins not too long ago, that they were pulling Gemini out of offshore trading and stuff like that. Well, Gemini, a leading CX founder by the famous Winklevoss twins, has seen 3 major executives leave the exchange. So not only did they just close down a bunch of offices, but their COO, CFO, and CLO all leave effective immediately. Something's going on at Gemini. That is a bad deal when the entire senior staff decides they're going to take off. Breaking, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway announces it sold 77% of its Amazon stake in Q4 of 2025, worth $1.7 billion. He also sold $2.7 billion of Apple last quarter. He's running away from the tech stocks, right? But again, we've seen videos from Warren Buffett before saying that he was worried about our economy and that the dollar is trash and it's being debased and all of these things. Things we've been talking about for a very long time. That's why we focus on utility. That's why I focus on utility, right? Gold, silver, copper, real estate, as well as my infrastructure crypto plays, XRP, Canton Network, HBAR, Chainlink, and Ondo, things that have real use case, right? I mean, they're still speculative. They're still risk assets, but I'm 41 years old. I can afford to take some risk, and that's what I'm doing. That's why I've been stacking down this entire bottom trend. I've been dollar cost averaging in all the way down, and that's allowed me to stay green, along with a little bit of day trading here and there. So let's actually get into some other news. XRP Ledger rolls out the members-only DEX for regulated institutions. We just talked about that. Some of the key points, just so you know, we won't go into the entire thing. I'm not going to bore you. But once I get through these next 2 articles, I'll hop in and I'll do some chat, and then I'll come back and finish up, and then we'll come back. But I want to recap anyone who came in late, because I know there's a lot of people who are probably who might have jumped in late who are concerned with what I'm talking about, and I want to make sure they have the full information. So stick around, guys. We're getting back to it. The XRP Ledger has activated the XLS 81 permission DEX amendment, enabling gated on-chain trading venues where only approved participants can place and accept offers. The new permission DEX featured is aimed and regulated for institutions such as banks and brokers that require controlled access tied to compliance measures like KYC and AML. Alongside the recently launched XLS 85 token escrow, which extends conditional settlement to all issued tokens, the upgrade strengthens XRPL's toolkit for institutional DeFi and tokenized assets, even as it moves away from fully open DeFi markets. So we're getting into private DeFi markets, if that makes any kind of sense. The XRP Ledger, okay, we already just covered all that. I'm not rereading the whole thing again, but this is really cool because a lot of people were asking about this not too long ago. Milo tops 100 million in crypto-backed mortgages, closes record with a $12 million deal. The firm, which holds mortgage provider license in 10 US states with more to follow, has a perfect track record of 0 margin calls across its mortgage portfolio. Milo allows holders to pledge their Bitcoin or Ether as collateral for loan amounts up to 25 million without having to sell their digital assets. Milo asks for 100% of the value in crypto collateral, which can be held with qualified custodians like Coinbase or BitGo, or there is a self-custodial option as well. The loans, which start at 8.25%, can also be used for things like acquiring land, funding home improvements, and business investments. So essentially, you can put up your crypto as collateral and get loans on it at 8.25%. Seems a little high for me, especially since you have it backed. I mean, 8.25% seems like a high loan or a high interest rate to take out a loan against your own assets, but apparently that's the going rate if you want a loan on your crypto right now. Milo, a U.S. currency lending business that specializes in crypto-backed mortgages, has originated over 100 million in home loans, with the largest to date being a $12 million crypto mortgage. The firm, which holds its mortgage provider in 10 states with more to follow, has a perfect track record. We already said that. Most of these articles repeat themselves, I swear. All right, let's hop into the chat a little bit here, and we'll touch base with everyone in here, and we'll do a recap right after that, okay? So let's look here. Let's talk to the chat. Let me find the chat, and then we will do a recap. Sir Charles was the first in the house. Welcome, Sir Charles. Resident B made it here, and I fixed my chat today. So what happened to alt season? I think that was last year, maybe. I mean, we did hit all-time highs last year. How did the trade from last night go? I think I answered that, but I'll pull it up for you real quick. Let me see if I can pull up the thing here. I'll show you what I did last night. Let's see, this one. Yeah. So last night, let me go back to the right thing here. Micro Bitcoin. So last night, I had got in because I thought this was going to run up this morning. Me and Charles were talking about, again, this is not financial advice. It's just what I do in my free time and my trades. But me and Charles were talking about it in my other stream last night. And I said I was going to go ahead and put in an order. And I can't remember exactly where the buy area was, but I remember where the stop was. Because I put the stop in at 66,800. And then, so this morning, it ran all the way down and stopped me out. It went down to 67.50 and then went all the way down, stopped me out before that run up. So I unfortunately did not make any money in last night's trade. However, the active trade that I have going right now is winning. So we'll see how this continues to go. Right now it's up $54. We'll see. Let's get back into the chat. I'll leave this run in the background and we'll check on it here in a minute. But the one that we started the one that I started at the beginning of this stream is now up $50. So I've made $50 on the micro futures trade while we've been streaming. We about to crash. I don't know if we're about to crash, Raul. I really don't. I still said that I was concerned that we could pull back to 60K again for Bitcoin. That's still on the table until it pushes through 70K. We don't have confirmation that this has turned around, and it just bounced off 70K again recently. So that, to me, that's concerning. Happy Wednesday, Stephen Haynes. You know, I honestly got my days confused. I thought it was Tuesday, tell you the truth. That's what happens now that I don't work a regular job, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't work a regular job now. So if I don't have my daughter that week, I just wake up and do my thing. Sometimes I forget what freaking day it is. You know, I forgot to change the date behind me, which you guys can see now. Hang on, let me fix it. Oh, shit. Too far. I took out my TV in the process because I'm on concrete now because I had to rip up the carpet because my basement flooded about 6 months ago. So I'm on concrete, nothing to slow me down. I roll everywhere. That's why, like, if you guys see me moving around a lot while I'm streaming, it's because this damn chair has nothing holding it back. Quelly says just log. Oh, hang on. I skipped one. Let me skip. Do you think CC will be added to Robinhood and Coinbase? If so, what kind of pump do you see if that happens? I do think it's going to be added to Robinhood, Coinbase, and Binance eventually. I don't know what kind of pump to expect once retail gets a hold of this, because they don't know anything about it yet. So once it's going to probably have a pump before it gets to Robinhood and Coinbase, and then another pump, I'm guessing. I honestly think we could see Canton at $1 by the end of the year. Like, I think that's a realistic thing. I think $3 by the end, $3 to $5 by the end of 2030 is kind of what I'm looking at for Canton. That's just me. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Not financial advice. Do your own research, but I think $1 is very possible with how quickly they are bringing stuff on chain to Canton, and the fact that no one's talking about it. Everyone's talking about XRP and being excited about XRP moving into the 6th position, which is great. I'm excited about that too. It's good for XRP. But no one talks about the fact that Canton's sitting there at number 1. Literally no one. It is so crazy to me that no one's talking about this token. Literally, like, almost no one is talking about this token. Quelly's just logging in, wants to know what they missed. Okay, remember, keep the chat rolling, guys. I'm going to hop into a recap for anyone who came in late. Let's keep the chat rolling. Let's make sure you hit the like button. Let's get the energy up, because we are streaming and we are making money and we want the stream to grow. So right now we have an active trade. We lost a little bit of money while we were talking. It's currently at a $30 winner right now. I have my stop set to roughly a $40 loss. If it were to turn around on me, we will see. We'll see how it plays out. Now, so price today, Bitcoin ran up and then ran back down. We'll get on Bitcoin. Ran up, then ran back down this morning, and that's what we're dealing with as we look at it today, which is strange because there was a liquidity injection today. There was an injection of $8 billion in liquidity today, and there's going to be another injection of $8 billion on the 20th. So we'll see what happens with that. So right now, Bitcoin is at 66.8, and XRP is currently now down to, or sitting at 145.1. So it's hanging in there. It's hanging in strong. Even though Bitcoin's going down, it's still chopping in the same area as well. Looking at the XRP ledger, we have been following this every single day. Don't worry, account set activity is still spiked, and we are still the only ones who follow it, as well as payments activity starting to ramp up again. Got up to 1.6 million yesterday, already at 1.2 million as of this morning when I did this. So it's probably higher now. We covered the crypto bubbles, our 5 core pillars: XRP, Canton Network, Chainlink, HBAR, and Ondo, all doing fairly well for the month. Canton's getting stronger and stronger, up 56% over the last month. I cannot be unhappy with my return on it so far. That being said, we will move back to the actual news. Now, the big thing, the big warning, there's 2 main warnings. We have seen this cycle happen now 4 or 5 times, right? But the big key that people still haven't learned is that it's going to happen. I mean, what goes up must come down, and we're going to have to dollar cost average in, and we're going to have to dollar cost average out. Right now, retail has run away, and I have some videos that we're going to watch here at the end of this, and we're going to cover that before we come back in and finish up the live chat. Now, where'd it go? So when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm in my bookmarks. Okay, I'm in the right place. I scrolled way too much. Here we go. This is the U.S. housing market bubble, okay? Remember, this is what it looked like right before the crash in 2008. This is what it looks like now, okay? Housing affordability in the United States is the worst it's ever been. This is one of the reasons why I just sold the house at the end of last month, is because I did not want to be a part of this, because if this does collapse, then I will be probably upside down. And I know some people are already upside down and will be more upside down. It's concerning. But you only lose if you sell. And I sold before I lost. It just as far as it goes to the house. And I've been, dollar cost averaging in on stuff that's dropped, sell at the top, buy the bottom is the way it should work. My house almost tripled in value over the last 10 years. Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I took the profits. It was time to take the profits. I lived in a place for 10 years, paid my mortgage, didn't fix the house up at all, didn't put any money into it, and turned around and sold it for $120,000 profit. I mean, real estate was great. Love real estate. So that's what we're worried about when it comes to that, as well as sometimes you just have to put on a common sense lens when we're talking about this stuff. Gold at all-time highs, silver at all-time highs, Dow at all-time highs, New York, what is it? NASDAQ at all-time highs. Everything's at all-time highs, but crypto. That's concerning. That's something we have to keep our eye on. But that's also why we dollar cost average in, and also why we're here for the long view, and we focus on utility over the next 5 to 10 years, not necessarily the next 5 to 10 months. The next 5 to 10 months is going to be very volatile. And when you hear people talk about volatility, when you hear the word volatility used by these major talking heads, that means they don't know. If they say you can expect volatility, that's them saying we don't know what's about to freaking happen. We're going to guess, but we think you should expect volatility. That's literally them saying we expect the unexpected because we don't have a freaking clue in the world what's about to happen. And that's all we're hearing lately is volatility, volatility, volatility. XRP Ledger rolls out a members-only DEX for regulated institutions. We talked about that, but now let's get to the videos. But actually, before we get to the videos, let me talk to the chat a little bit more. We just did a quick recap. Let me check on the trade, see how the trade is doing. I don't think it's doing good right now, but we will find out. It's up 39 bucks, 38 bucks. It's doing better. Okay, so let's talk to the chat and see what you guys are doing here and finish up the chat before we get into the videos. What platform do you use for day trading? Round trip trade fees are at least 3 to 4%, I think. So you need sizable moves for profit, right? I don't do that kind of day trading anymore. Before, when I did day trading of Bitcoin, when I actually, okay, I'm not doing hardcore day trading right now. Let me get that out in the open. It's just minor stuff to make 50, 60, 70 bucks, maybe 100 or 200 on a good run if I see a good setup. That being said, I'm using Robinhood to trade micro futures. I have Robinhood Gold and I have access to margin on there. That being said, each trade is only like 85 cents. It's really not a lot. Now the margin is 5%. Like, so if you're doing the margin at 5%, that's great. You know, that's only if you're holding the position for a long time, but I have all cash. So all my margin is backed by cash. So I don't pay crazy fees for the margin. So I can do a $40, $50, $60 move and it still works out for me. That's just me. Because it's really not that expensive to make the trade. So far today, I've lost $59 in realized losses because I got stopped out of that one earlier. But right now I'm up $41. So hopefully that makes sense. It's really not that expensive. Let me see if it'll show. I don't think it's going to let me do it because I have one active right now. I don't know if I can buy another one if it'll let me. It'll show me. Here it is. So it's going to cost me here it is. Buying power, does it say futures power offered by Robinhood disclosures? Let me see if it says how much it costs me in here. It's really cheap. It's not that expensive. I literally think like a trade cost me, a break-even trade that I did ended up costing me like $1.85. So do your own research, but that's how I do it. That's just me. All right, so let's go back into the chat and see what everyone else is doing. The Latin mass, I've seen long-term Canton Network predictions range from 30 cents to $26 by 2030. What you think? That's a big spread. Well, I answered that question, but I think $1 this year is realistic, especially with how much it's ramping up. And $3 to $5, I think, is probably most realistic by 2030. Because at some point, remember, with Canton, remember, at some point, it is, how do I put it? The tokenomics are infinite. There's an infinite supply of Canton. So as utility comes on, yes, more are burned, but more are minted. So at some point, it's going to get to an equilibrium point. Where that equilibrium is, I don't know. But we won't actually reach it till everything is done being tokenized and everything is being done used on chain once they've completely ramped up their utility. So that's why I'm saying like 3 to 5, I think is realistic by 2030. And then we'll kind of see where we are from there. And as always, if it's higher than that, great. Then that's great for me. That means I have more money. But it's one of those things I'd be happy to be wrong kind of thing. You'll hear me say that a lot when I start setting my expectations and I hear people say, well, what about this person said this price? I'll gladly be wrong if if my thought on it is too conservative. That's great. Good afternoon, William. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. What about Linea? Is it good too? I don't have any information on Linea. I have not researched it. So I won't give you information on something I don't know about. 24 people were watching when he said that. Okay. William Meyer says, I've just been hearing nothing but positive news about XRP. Now we play the waiting game. Still waiting on clarity, I think, is a big factor, but the DEX going live is nice as well. Sir Charles says, well, that wick looks like it was designed just to take you out. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Remember we talked about last night that sometimes I play it too conservative with my stops and it costs me? That was one of those examples. Supreme Court opinion on Friday, 133 billion in IEEPA tariffs on the line. Prediction market stays 72, 75%. The government loses. Is anyone pricing this in? I'm sure it's priced in. I honestly think that the tariffs are going to be overruled. And I do think when they are overruled, there's going to be a sell the news event. I know people think that if the tariffs are overruled, it's going to be catastrophe, but it actually brings back stabilization to global markets. Think about that, right? The entire market, all the markets have been in an uproar since tariffs. If the tariffs are overruled and we go back to the quote unquote status quo way of doing things, that's going to bring stability and certainty back to the markets. The tariffs have done one thing. They have upheaved certainty in the markets globally. I know a lot of people have been preaching the opposite, but I'm going to stand out on a bridge, out on a limb, and say that if the tariffs are overruled, it'll actually be good for our economy in the long run. But that's just me. I could be wrong on that. So if Clarity Act goes, does XRP have to dump 12% of what they hold in escrow? They're not allowed to hold more than 22% of the crypto. Well, then yes, they would have to dump it. Now, where are they going to dump it? Are they going to dump it on the market? No. They'll, if anything, I think it goes to Evernorth. I think that's why they created Evernorth so quickly back in October of last year, right after the announcement of that particular clause in the act, in the Clarity Act, excuse me, or in the market structure bill was actually the word I was looking for. Literally a couple weeks after they announced that was going to be in the market structure bill, they literally released Evernorth like 2 weeks later. Shocking how that works. Having your own personal DAT company is an excellent parking spot for something like that. So I can see them moving it around to their partners, to Evernorth, to, you know, they could put some in G Treasury, they could put some in Ripple Prime. They can move it around all their different entities to where they're not technically holding it. I don't think it'll be as big of a deal as people think it's going to be. What REITs do you invest in? Not financial advice. Well, I don't have my REITs on Robinhood, but I can show you. Oh, you guys don't want to see that. I don't have my REITs on Robinhood. Those are on Schwab, but let me see if I can pull up some examples for you, because I have stuff mixed everywhere, depending on what's easiest. Let me take a look here. Okay, so we want to pull this up. You want to look at REITs. We're up $76 on the trade today as it goes, so we'll continue keeping an eye on that. We'll see how far back up that goes. I should probably move it into, all right, I'm going to move this into where I'm taking profit. If it comes back and hits EMA, which it probably will, I'll still make some money there. But let's see. So we were looking at REITs. We wanted to look at REITs. All right, so let me see. REIT. So here it is, Schwab US REIT ETF. That's the one I have. I mean, this is one I use. As you can see, it just fell. But if you look at, and again, not financial advice, everyone do your own research, but I use Schwab for this because it's just had consistent performance. If you look at it all time, you can see right now it's down, but the overall market is down. So this was from December of 2022. And then right now it's over here at $22.45. It's run up hard recently. It was down all the way back here in April, and it's run all the way up. I'm honestly thinking about getting out of this because I've been buying this since 2023. So 2023. I got divorced right here in March 2023. So I started buying this right around $19 and it's up to 22. I might actually move out of it with this housing information. But again, that's just me. So back to the chat. Let me pull this back up because I know people like to see the trades. People like to see the trade moving. They like to see me risking my money. Even though it's just a little bit. But people like to see it. Which I think is fun. It's cool. We'll have fun with it. What? Oh, I'm on all time. I want to go back to my 15-minute candle. There we go. All right. Now we got one more chat in here, and then we will watch the videos. Can you explain the DEX going live, and what does that mean for us? So the DEX it's publicly for institutions for them to bridge an exchange It's a DeFi exchange for institutions to where they could switch currencies. And XRP is the auto bridge for that. So that's a huge deal. It's mainly for institutional. It's not mainly. It is designed solely for institutional use. Wall Street, banks, etc., to have their own personal DeFi exchange with XRP as the liquidity bridge. So as more utility comes on there, that means more burn fees, more XRP being locked up, all those things. Again, this is just like the beginning of the first day. We probably haven't even seen 0.001% of the activity that we're gonna see over the course of, the year or years to come. But that's mainly what it is. It's just like an exchange for us where we transfer our cash for crypto. They can transfer their euro to US dollars, and XRP is that liquidity bridge for every single transaction. It's the auto bridge unless it's designated otherwise, is how it's actually set up. So we actually do have some more information here as we're watching this Bitcoin trade. Let's actually see what they have to say about Bitcoin. We got a couple different videos to watch here in regards to Bitcoin. This one's a little longer, but it's got some very good information in regards to what we're dealing with here.
Since March of last year, I'm talking about those spot crypto funds. We've seen historic stretches of net outflows. Matt, I want to start with you first. Take us inside this sell-off. What's driving it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be right back while this is playing.
Absolutely. The interesting thing about your question, Mackenzie, is it's not the ETF investors who are driving the sell-off. Assets are down, but most of that is price appreciation, right? Bitcoin is down more than 50% from its October 2025 peak. We've seen a handful of outflows, maybe $7 billion, but the vast majority of ETF investors show they're here for the long haul. The people who have been selling are mostly sort of OG, the original crypto investors. Remember, they own most of the asset. They've been accumulating it over 15 years, and they've been trimming their positions a little bit, not en masse, but a little bit. And that's what's been driving this pullback.
Now, Will, roughly 40% of the spot Bitcoin ETF holders are underwater right now. They need Bitcoin to go up roughly 50% in order to make themselves whole. How are you, working with some of your customers? Like, what is the general sentiment right now with respect to how the ETFs are trading? Is it just, are they people hanging in there to break even, exiting those positions?
I think that there's a lot of negative sentiment out there, and actually probably the most negative that I've seen in quite some time. And it's tough. It's tough to be a Bitcoin investor or a crypto investor right now when you look at the price of gold going through $5,000 an ounce, other assets appreciating to all-time highs. And I think the precious metals thing has really caught crypto investors sort of off guard. This is not supposed to happen. Gold's not supposed to go to all-time highs, and crypto sort of doesn't react like this. And so I think for a lot of people, the sentiment is negative. And therefore, we've seen that, manifested in, online, et cetera.
Yeah, we've certainly seen this break in the digital gold thesis for Bitcoin the last few weeks as gold surges to all-time highs. Another dynamic that I'm trying to square, why do we almost never see dip buying in the ETFs? It almost always tracks the price of Bitcoin or Ethereum. Rarely do we see ETF flows break momentum in the markets. Walk me through this. Matt.
Sure. Yeah, I think there are two aspects going on. You actually do see, if you look close enough at the flows, you can see that some of the providers like Bitwise, which serve primarily financial advisors, do get inflows that are counter trend. We had significant inflows across the suite of all of our products last week because our financial advisor investors were buying the dip. What covers it over is that ETFs serve a wide variety of audiences. So often when you see those outflows, those are coming from hedge funds or traders who are also participating in the ETF. So it's really a tale of two sides. When I speak to financial advisors, they are looking at this more as an opportunity than a risk. Again, we continue to see inflows across the full suite of our products at Bitwise. And I think that's reflective of these sort of two markets, the fast money market.
So Bitwise advisors, according to this guy, are saying that there is more opportunity than risk in crypto right now. Interesting.
Who are investing for the next month and the people who are investing for the next 4 or 5 years.
Part of the thesis in speaking to analysts was the fact that these spot ETFs, these spot crypto ETFs over the last 2 years really helped put a floor under the price of Bitcoin. But it seems as though in the last 6 months, they're not providing that same support? And obviously we can see overall fund flows, and to your point, Matt, that can kind of cover up who's buying and who's selling. But are there any pieces of information that you're waiting to see in those 13 Fs? Any specific hedge fund moves that might explain the market action we've seen? I put that to either one of you.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in there. There's certainly a lot of chatter about whether we'll see hedge funds that built big positions at the end of Q4 who maybe have wanted to unwind those positions early this month. But of course, the 13F data is significantly delayed. I think there's aspects of all of it. What I would point to again is I do think there are long-term investors. I think the ETF flows have buoyed the price. If this is a full-blown crypto winter, similar to 2018 or 2022, in those crypto winners, Bitcoin retraced 77 to 85%. Again, we're down about 50, 52% now. That delta may be explained because the ETF investors were buoying the price. I know it's still down substantially, but it's less compared to previous bear markets. And I think if we stabilize here, we would note that the ETFs were in fact that stabilizing force, just not enough to keep the price at all-time highs at all times.
Now, Will, let's talk about the wider ETF book that you have, because part of the narrative that I hear from analysts is that this depressed crypto trade might have to do with the fact that interest is migrating to prediction markets and zero-day options. And you also represent ETFs that look to get investors a wider set of exposure to the AI trade. Talk to me about where you're potentially seeing customers move their funds.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that, there's never been
as many
ETFs available as there are in the market today, and therefore there's never been as many investment options for people to choose from. And so crypto does have all sorts of competition from different asset classes and different ETF ideas. One of the big ones at the moment is what I call the retailization of institutional strategies. So particularly using options, for example, to generate yield. So we have the series of products in our Yield Boost family, and they can do different things from generating high amounts of yield to providing downside protection and other strategies which previously were only really available to institutional investors. And that's something that's happening not just with regular stocks and bonds, but with crypto as well, where people can now trade options on crypto ETFs, et cetera, packaged through the ETF wrapper.
And that's something that I've wondered. Initially, straight out the gate, we saw a lot of these ETF applications focus on the price of the spot price of these different crypto tokens. And then it moved into having ETFs tied to the derivatives markets, and then leveraged bets, and then combining different tokens into the same, or wrapped by the same ETF. Where's the most interest right now with respect to what investors want to get exposure to? Has it moved beyond wanting an ETF tied to the spot price of Bitcoin, for example?
I think it's a little bit like the ETF industry as a whole. The majority of the interest will still be in the spot Bitcoin or the core products, but increasingly people will want different ways, different adjacencies to play that, whether they're yield seeking, whether they want downside protection, whether they want diversification, blending crypto with other assets. So it's a little bit like the ETF industry itself, where the vast majority of assets will be concentrated in the biggest core index funds, but increasingly people are really interested in active strategies and leverage and options and other things at the satellite.
Matt, same question to you, but from the Bitwise lens, where are you seeing the most investor interest in terms of your products?
Yeah, I'd agree with Will that there is interest in these sort of derivative adjacent products. We run our own suite of option income producing ETFs writing against crypto stocks, et cetera. I think the next major wave of crypto interest is actually going to be diversified index funds. If you look at things like equities or bonds, as Will mentioned, the vast majority of assets are in diversified index funds. An unusual thing about crypto is most are in single asset products like Bitcoin ETFs or Ethereum ETFs. We have the first crypto index fund and largest crypto index ETF, BITW. I think you're going to see a lot of investors migrate to that as crypto just becomes a normal part of the asset market. Right, we use indexes in stocks, in bonds, in real estate, in much of commodities. I think we're going to use it in crypto as well. So we're seeing interest on that side too.
Quick question just about the staked Ether ETFs. That seemed as though it was this huge threshold that was crossed when the SEC finally made that possible to be able to earn that yield on your Ethereum in the context of an ETF wrapped product, something that you couldn't do when they initially launched. Have you? But I feel as though that hasn't shown up in flows. You haven't seen more investment in the Ether ETF since that was made possible. But am I missing something? Are you seeing more investor interest from your customer base? I put that out to either one of you.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it first. Will can follow up. We're seeing interest on the Solana side. So our Solana staking ETF, BSOL, has had strong inflows since it launched. Solana has a higher staking yield than ETH, about 7% versus 2%. So it's a more meaningful differentiation. I think the thing about Ethereum and staking is, of course, it's great to have your Ethereum ETF stake. It's great to earn an extra 1 or 2% a year, but people are investing for it for the base return of Ethereum, right? Plus 100% or down 50%. That's going to overwhelm sort of the staking component. So again, more on Solana where the staking yield is bigger. Ethereum, it's a benefit to be sure, and we're fans of staking. We run a big staking business, but it's more of a marginal difference because it's only a couple of percentage points.
I think regarding the flows, it's maybe too early to read too much into the tea leaves of the flows around these specific products at the moment, because there's been a massive drawdown, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other coins, and therefore, from a inflows perspective, it's probably time to take a longer view, because it's just not a momentum trade market at the moment, which I think a lot of buyers in the space are looking for that recovery to get back in.
Thinking ahead to the next catalyst, Morgan Stanley was a first mover almost 18 months ago, having cleared its army of 15,000 FAs to pitch some of these spot Bitcoin ETFs. They've since filed to launch their own. Is this what we need? More FAs cleared at more banks to start pitching these products in order to open the floodgates to more customers? Is it the banks themselves becoming the issuers? Matt, I'm sure you have specific thoughts on that, being an issuer yourself.
Yeah, I think it's all good. All of these doors opening up are good things, right? All 4 major wirehouses across Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, and UBS now allow exposure to certain versions of crypto products. That's going to be helpful for flows. But in a crypto winter, there usually is no one major catalyst that excites a V-shaped rally. Usually it's a slow bottoming, and the things you mentioned are what builds momentum into the future. If we're looking for a specific catalyst, maybe if the Clarity Act passes in Congress, that will add some bullish momentum. But usually these bear markets sort of die in exhaustion, not in excitement. I would expect it to sort of bottom out slowly. And then things like Morgan Stanley going all in on Bitcoin will be part of what accelerates us when we're on the upside.
I was looking at some of the data, and it shows that outflows are just shy of 200 million, despite the heavy price pressure. And that flow deceleration does historically signal a potential inflection point. How are you reading this, Will?
I think Matt put it quite well, which is that if you look at the ETF flows, it's not really clear that ETF customers are the ones that are giving up on Bitcoin or other cryptos at the moment. The selling has been pretty light compared to the total assets out there. I think this is much more a case that the kind of buyer that's buying Bitcoin and other ETFs on the crypto side is more institutional, more financial advisor based. The amount they hold in the portfolio is probably very small, and therefore, they perhaps can weather the volatility, or at least are comfortable with this kind of activity because they're holding for the long run.
Okay, last question for you both. You're both ETF industry veterans, so let's zoom out and consider the industry as a whole now. What do you see as the next big opportunity for the growth of ETFs in 2026? It doesn't just have to be crypto related, Matt. Is it this or something else entirely? Will, kick us off.
I think the big trend in ETFs is the one that's been alive for the last couple of years, which is this sort of retailization of institutional strategies. So strategies that were very big, but maybe just accessible to high net worth clients through financial advisors or others, now passing their way into the ETF wrapper. So those could be strategies using leverage, options to generate yield, options to help protect against downside movements. All of these different types of strategies are becoming much more popular as retail investors want access to the kind of strategies that they couldn't get before.
Matt, final word.
I actually absolutely agree with Will. That is the direction of travel. Of course, the vast majority of flows will still be into VOO and the plain vanilla exposures that we all know and love in ETF land. But ETFs are about making institutional strategies available to everyone. I think Will mentioned many of them. I also think you'll see more private shares in ETFs. I'm bullish on that trend as well. So everything that
Private ETFs,
family
interesting.
offices and institutions have been doing for the last 20 years, ETFs are going to crack that open for everyday investors. That's been a great story for ETFs for 30 years. It'll be a good story for the next 10.
So the ETF space is not what's causing the sell-off. They're saying institutions are not what's causing this pullback. It's the OG crypto investors taking profits all the way down is what they're saying. Do you guys believe it? I don't know. I don't know if I do or not. We do have some more Bitcoin news. Did I miss any chats while we were going? I don't think I did. Nope. Again, keep the chat rolling, guys. Make sure you hit the like button if you're still here and you haven't done it already. I do appreciate it. It helps grow the stream. And we will continue. I got one more video for you. And then if there's any chats that come through, we'll finish them up. We're getting close to the end. So if you got any questions, get them out there.
Fox Business Alert, Bitcoin continues to jog in place. Over just the last 7 days, the crypto bellwether has been stuck in a range of between something like 62,000 and 70,000. Even at the top end of that span, that's a far cry from the all-time high of $126,000 reached back on October 6th. Still, one company is firmly bolting its fate to the cryptocurrency. The world's largest corporate Bitcoin holder, Strategy, owns about 717,131 Bitcoin and has seen its stock fall along with the digital currencies drop. MSTR is down about 63% since October. Despite that, the company just made its 99th purchase last week, scooping up an additional 2,486 Bitcoin for $168.4 million. Joining me now, Strategy founder and executive chairman, Michael Saylor. Michael, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can I first just get your
He does have a
gut
punchable
answer
face, too.
as to whether we are in the first stages of another extended crypto winter?
We are in a crypto winter. This is the 5th major drawdown of Bitcoin in the 5 years since I've been in the marketplace. This is a much milder winter than previous winters. It'll be shorter than previous winters. It's going to be followed by a spring and then a glorious summer. So don't fear.
Why do you feel so confident saying that?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Smart Algo YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to walk through the features of...
Oh, it made me, I had to watch an ad. Sorry about that.
The banking sector is supporting Bitcoin much more strongly today than we were 4 years ago. We've got the formation of digital credit networks, banking credit networks. We've got the support of the administration. We've got a Bitcoin president. We've got 12 cabinet members that are pro-digital assets and pro-innovation. And every single month, you see new advances in the digital asset space, which are bringing extraordinary productivity to the economy and a lot of capital to the asset class.
You know, you're absolutely right when it comes to the banks who have finally started accepting and embracing it. I mean, you could go back, of course, to BlackRock, not a bank, but BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, finally pushing hard to get a spot Bitcoin ETF in play. IBIT and the rest have done, depending on what Bitcoin is doing, up, down, all around. But let's get to Strategy, because your company's average acquisition price for all those Bitcoin is around what, 76,000? Can you just clarify that and make sure that I'm right on that?
Yeah, in that range.
Okay, that is materially above current market levels. And that has created unrealized, albeit unrealized, losses on paper. But at what point, Michael, does this disconnect between cost basis, what you paid, and the current market price become a problem for you and your shareholders?
Yeah, one of the misconceptions people have is that number really matters. The most important thing to understand is that we bought most of that Bitcoin with equity, not with debt. So if we had borrowed money to buy the Bitcoin, it might be an issue. But we were the largest issuer of equity in 2024 in the entire capital market. We were the largest issuer of equity in 2025 in the entire capital market. I think the company raised $55 billion of capital, but only 8 of the $55 billion was debt. So if we did buy the Bitcoin at a little bit higher than the current level, we sold equity that it was a massive premium to the Bitcoin at the time that we bought it. So the company's balance sheet's a fortress. We're fairly indestructible. Bitcoin can fall to any level. It won't make much difference to us. We will equitize the debt we have over the next 3 to 6 years. We will buy Bitcoin, if not every week, we'll definitely be buying Bitcoin every quarter going forward.
Makes no difference if Bitcoin goes all the way down, and yet your whole strategy is very much based on Bitcoin.
She's calling them out on that BS too.
Your premium. Historically, your stock had traded at a much higher premium than what Bitcoin was at. That is no longer the case. So do you have a framework, Michael, for reclaiming that, I guess, that premium absent any rally in the next, I don't know how long a crypto winter lasts. You said that it would be shorter, but absent any rally in Bitcoin back to 126,000.
Well, our equity is trading at a premium to our net asset value right now. So we've already reclaimed that premium. We've got enough capital for the next 50 to 60 years. So unlike investors that need the market to do what they want in the next month,
capital, I
we
see
have
2 billion.
60,
I see 2
we have
billion
60
of cash.
years. We have 60 years of capital, Liz. We can wait out any short-term downturn in the market. A week, a month, a year doesn't matter to us. We're like the company that owns 3.4% of Manhattan with enough capital to hold out to the end of the century. And you're telling me that it's been a bad week or a bad month in Manhattan real estate market. We believe in the future of the network, and we built a balance sheet accordingly.
That's an interesting analogy. I like it. I think it certainly works for people who might not be understanding what's going on. But when you say capital for the next 60 years, in what form?
We have $2.25 billion worth of just cash. And we have Bitcoin, about 717,000 Bitcoin, which is equal to about 55 years worth of dividends.
Okay. All right. That is if they hold up. Given the dividend obligations on preferred.
So he's using Bitcoin as it.
Debt. There's all of that, and
saying
that
they got enough to handle 60 years if it goes down.
Through
but most of their equity is
generate
Bitcoin.
Actual cash flow independent of Bitcoin.
Yeah. The thing to keep in mind is that Bitcoin is outperforming the S&P by a factor of 2 to 3. And so if you can hold out through a 4-year cycle, then you can expect to outperform the S&P index. We have the option to simply hold the Bitcoin and return the Bitcoin or capital from the Bitcoin to our investors, or we can sell the equity that's backed by the Bitcoin in order to pay the dividend, or we can sell derivatives based upon our Bitcoin holdings in order to pay our dividends.
Let's talk about STRC. So that to me is an interesting one because this is your digital concept for credit. Explain to people what that is, because it is paying off, 11% dividend to shareholders? That is a very rich dividend. How are you able to do that?
Imagine you take a company public that holds a bunch of Manhattan real estate that you expect to go up 7% a year. Then you sell a preferred stock that pays a 3.5% dividend each year. You're just returning the first half of the capital appreciation of the real estate back to the credit investors in the form of a dividend. If you were holding the same amount in gold and you thought gold would go up 10% a year, you could pay a 5% dividend in a preferred stock. We are holding Bitcoin, which we expect to go up more than 20% a year. So we offer 11% dividend yield on the preferred stock backed by the Bitcoin that we hold. And so the credit investors are getting the first 11% return on Bitcoin in the form of a credit instrument. The equity investors are getting the return in excess of the 11%. So what we've done with STRC is created a digital credit instrument that can pay double-digit dividends, like 11%, and a return of capital dividend, so it's tax deferred. And then we over-collateralize that credit instrument with $4 to $5 worth of Bitcoin whenever we sell $1 of stretch.
Michael, isn't that based, though, on a blue sky scenario? You began the sentence by saying, imagine if you were in real estate and you expect real estate to go up 10%. Well, in 2005, 6, 7, everybody thought real estate was going to continue to go up, and it did not. it imploded. There are moments in time where these black swan events happen. And I think that it's important for people to understand, what is the backup plan?
Well, that's why we have 2.5 years worth of cash on the balance sheet. So if the market seized up for the next 2.5 years, we just pay cash. That's why we have the 55 years worth of over collateralization in the Bitcoin. So you're right. If you needed to be perfect in the next week or the next month, there might be risk. We just need to be right over the next decade for the equity to pay off. And we need to be right, sometime in the next 40 or 50 years in order for the credit to be workable.
Let me shift the discussion to the Federal Reserve, because President Trump has nominated Kevin Warsh to be the next Fed chair. There is a question as to whether he will be in a position to cut interest rates. We know President Trump really wants him to, but the economy is holding up, at least for the moment. So, if he holds off on cutting interest rates, which could hurt riskier investments, give me a sense of what you expect to see in that case.
Bitcoin is global digital capital. It's above my pay grade to speculate about where the interest rates will go. But what I'll say is there are three primary drivers of the Bitcoin price that are all bullish. There are those that believe that Bitcoin is a better gold than gold because it's scarce and it's teleportable. And so people that believe in a debasement trade, or they want a non-sovereign store of value, will buy Bitcoin for the long term for that reason. There are other people that believe in the digital transformation of finance, and they think of Bitcoin as amplified big tech. And then there's a third set of people that want global property, and they simply want the highest, best property in the world that they can move to any country anytime they want. And so Bitcoin's driven by all three of those dynamics, sometimes on different days of the week. And so it defies putting into a simple bucket, but it's going to win for one of those three reasons, regardless of what the macro environment works out to be.
It truly is interesting now that I hear more than a few people saying that to diversify their portfolios, and they're not necessarily Bitcoin believers, they are putting a little corner of their money into cryptocurrency just so that they are diversified. You guys have come a long way. Good to see you, Michael. Thank you for coming on.
All right, so there you have it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'll tell you what, she did a
Fireworks to
great
ring it.
job. She did a fantastic job. Basically, just literally calling out strategy on the fact that their entire business model is built around a hope and a dream that Bitcoin's going to go up. And she literally, every time his response is over, it will go up. It will go up. It sounds like me about the long view over the next 5 to 10 years. But he's sitting there constantly talking about how it will go up. It will go up when it goes up after, it's not in his mind that he could fail. Some of that was a great interview. I hope you guys got something out of that. That was really, really good. I was never a fan of strategy, but I'm less of a fan of strategy now after that. I can tell you that right now. And John said, yeah, she's holding his feet to the fire. Way to go. She certainly did. I don't know why that message didn't pop up down here for me. It popped up and then went away. Interesting. How many people we got in the stream? That's all the information. No one's chatting anymore, so I'm guessing. Any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns? I just got the trade playing out right now. Again, not financial advice. Do your own research. There's still 26 of us in here, though. If you guys want to keep the chat rolling, we can hang out for a little bit and see how this trade plays out. I've covered all the information. But yeah, she was certainly holding his feet to the fire. And good afternoon to you, race fan. Thank you for joining today. Appreciate you being here with us. It's been a slower day today. I mean, other than the DEX coming out, which the DEX is awesome. I'm really happy about the DEX coming out because I think that's going to be good for XRP in general. And again, you guys can always follow me on X at Longview Crypto if you want the information before it makes it to the stream. You have to retweet everything I put on the stream. We covered the videos there. You guys don't want to talk about anything? You just want to watch ticks? You just want to watch it tick? Tick, 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 tick. What else is good? What else is new, everybody? We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes, so my normal stream time is over. Now it's a chat hangout. After I get through the first hour, the time is yours if I go long. But once I run out of info after an hour, then it's up to you guys to keep it rolling. We can just hang out, though. We'll see how many people will stay in. Call it XRP Hangout. Or Canton Network Hangout or whoever's hanging out. But we do have 26 people in here. Not huge, but it gets the job done. Now we're up $80 on the trade during the stream, so that was a good stream. $80 profitable trade. Starting to tick up now, though. We got way down here. It must have been closer to $100 at one point. We'll see if it continues. Again, I've got my stop set way up here. I thought it would come back and touch EMA 9. Looks like it tried it a couple times. We'll see if it continues down. If I catch this move, we'll see what happens. You received a ledger letter. You received a ledger letter. What is that? What are you talking about, Race Fan? I don't know what you're talking about. You talking about the cold storage device, or are you talking about the XRP ledger? You got a ledger letter. Ah, you got a scam from Ledger, I see. Did you see Ripple Bank offering high APR rates on XRP? Yeah. I think we're gonna see a lot more crypto lending, like being able to use your crypto to borrow against and use for different things, like we just saw with the mortgage rates. Yeah. I find it funny that she's using these black swan events to try and make them say we're effed. He should ask her where would she put her money that would avoid a black swan event. Exactly. There's really no safe place to put your money to avoid a black swan event other than your mattress or gold or silver, which is why we've seen such a run up in gold and silver lately. But that's why I diversify. Like she was talking about that. Like for those of you who don't know, some of you might not, some of you may have joined in or haven't been here before, but I'm about personally investing in the long term, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, not 5 months or 10 months from now. So that's what I'm about personally. I do some day trading and swing trading and stuff like that on the side to generate a little extra income, but that's not the main bulk of my investment. And I invest highly in infrastructure that I think we're going to need over the next 10 years. Gold, silver, copper, real estate, as well as my crypto infrastructure plays, XRP, Canton Network, Chainlink, HBAR, and Ondo. So that's how I am attacking this moving forward. That's why I present to you guys the risks that are happening in the overall macro economy right now, because ultimately that's what's going to affect the assets right now. Not necessarily the utility element of it. Once we switch to utility, like we're starting to see the things with the DEX come online for the XRPL, like we're starting to see so much tokenization come on chain for Canton Network, HBAR partnering with FedEx. I mean, the adoption at scale is going to continue. It is. We see the evidence of it now. Clarity Act will be huge. We have a meeting this week. Again, it's just a meeting. It's not even the bank markup, okay? It's just a meeting. So it's not getting passed this week as you start to hear the rumors fly the rest of the year, the rest of the week. So it's just a meeting to discuss stablecoin yield again, because they need to get over themselves on that. Race Fan says, requesting immediate attention. Oh, from the Ledger letter? Yeah. I get so many scam calls and emails. It's ridiculous. John Beal says, is it a good idea to have your blockchain funds certified by a law firm, bank compliant? You're the first person I've heard mention that, John Beals. To have your blockchain funds certified by a law firm, bank compliant. Why would they need to be certified though? I mean, I guess that's my question. The whole point of cryptocurrency is that it's programmable, right? So the certification should fall in the crypto. So why does it need to be certified by a law firm? That doesn't seem right to me, John. I've never heard of that. If you could clarify on what that's about, that's raising a weird tingly sensation up my spine that seems wrong. Everything crashes during black swan events. Absolutely. Not sure if you addressed this, but did you see standard charter prediction on XRP $28 by 2030? I hope you see them numbers a lot sooner. What are your thoughts? I did see that. It was funny because the whole thing that people were talking about with standard charter was that they slashed their prediction this year from $8 this year down to $2.60 this year, but they raised their prediction for 2030. I still think another YouTuber influencer is pushing that certification. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, race fan. Talking about that law certificate, I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. But not sure if you addressed this, but did you see Standard Charter's prediction? Yes, I saw that their prediction for this year was slashed from $8 to $2.60. And a lot of people were making a big fuss about it, but failed to recognize that they actually increased their prediction to $28 for 2030. Now, a lot of people are still wanting higher prices. Here's the thing. No one knows how high it's going to get. And again, it's hard to put a value for a technology that is designed to move value. We're really not going to have a grand, even a close idea of what these things are going to be until a little bit after clarity and we start seeing how things shake out. So for me, $25 by 2030 is like my conservative case for XRP. Whereas I think personally we could see triple digits by 2030. But again, that's not guaranteed, right? That's why I hold multiple different assets, but that's why I invest it, is because I see that option for it in the future. My opinion, everyone has their own. You saw that video last night. Okay, race fan, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on quant? Nope. No thoughts on quant. I haven't researched it hardly at all. I did a while back. I honestly don't even remember what I researched on it, but I know I researched it at one point because I own some of it. So I threw a dart throw at some point on quant years ago, but I honestly don't remember. The tuber is pushing it hard. Okay. Yeah. And I'm glad you asked the question then, guys, because again, if it doesn't seem right, it's probably not. So when you're saying when you mentioned having a lawyer certify my crypto that it's bank compliant, I'm like, what? Like, this stuff is programmable. It's digital money. Like, the certifications are built into it. Yeah. Post-price appreciation deposits, high amount, banks question funds. Edo was talking about this yesterday. Post-price appreciation deposits, high amount, banks question the funds. I see. Well, I still don't believe that. I mean, I think that's more of like banks. So here's the thing. Okay, saying banks question funds. Here's how I'll combat this. And again, do your own research, okay? Let me pull this. It's not, I don't know if it's pulling up or not, but do your own research. But here's what I have to say about this. Right now, say price appreciates and it goes to millions and millions of dollars, okay? We'll just say XRP goes to $10,000 and I'm worth 120 million bucks, okay? I have Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown uses the XRP ledger. They don't have a restriction on withdrawals. And because they're using the XRP ledger, the withdrawals happen in less than an hour to your bank. They can be verified and done in less than an hour. So if I were to sell my XRP with Caleb and Brown and deposit the cash to my bank, what the hell does the bank have to worry about my crypto for? Does that make sense? I mean, all of my stuff's documented. The purchases of the crypto are documented. That sounds scammy to me. I could be wrong, John, but it doesn't sound right to me. If you're asking my opinion, it doesn't sound right. That's just me. So basically, I'm Michael Saylor on a small scale, investing in the future. Absolutely. Dollar cost average in over time. Dollar cost averaging beats trying to time tops and bottoms any day of the week. And I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and literally made money during this last fall, during this last pullback, because I was dollar cost averaging in. So as it started to bounce back, when we would bounce back to $1.45 or whatever it was on XRP, I'm in the green again. right? Just from that one small bounce because I was dollar cost averaging all the way down. But everyone has their own way of doing it. That's the way I do it. And that's the way I, try to explain and show to people. It's a lot less stressful. And then right now, because of that, I have cash on the side that if it does continue to go down, I can buy more. Or if I think there's going to be a play that I can do in the futures market, or I see a clear setup, I can try to scalp and make 80, 100, 200 bucks. It's just the way I look at the market, but I also follow it every single day. I'm checking the news every single day. I see these price charts every single day. And that's why I share it with you. If you guys want to see this stuff, like literally this is what I do pretty much all day. A lot of times I'll, like, once I'm done researching or I'm done making videos or whatever, I'll get on and play a video game on my computer and I'll stream it, and I'll just be trading Bitcoin on the side in the background like I'm doing right now with this up here in the background while I'm talking to you guys. So I just try to share it with you guys as I find it and let you make up your own opinion. It's more about building a community that's about crypto for the long view, because I don't feel like there's a lot of that right now. There's really not. And we're up to $99. We almost got a clear $100. Should I take the $100 win or should I let it ride? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. I need to know in chat. I know what I would do. I'm already going to do what I'm going to do. But I'm curious what you guys think. Would you let it ride or would you take the 100? That's not bad for an hour and a half of work talking to you guys in the stream. Make $100. I'll take it. I'm going to move my stop down for now. I'm curious what you guys think. With Caleb and Brown, one is KYC'd, no questions from the banks. Exactly. Or from Coinbase, Kraken, or Uphold if you have it from the exchanges. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And I can move, and that's where I'm going to use, that's who I'm going to use to offboard anything. Like if I want to sell anything, it's getting transferred to Caleb and Brown. And then I'm going to sell it. I'll just move it straight into, I'll just transfer it straight in. I can transfer them my XRP. I can transfer them my Canton, my HBAR. I can transfer them everything. So when I do go to get out, I'll be doing it through Caleb and Brown because there's no limit. I can take out 500,000 or $1 million, and they use XRP Ledger. So I don't have to wait days, weeks, months, whatever it is for it to clear. It'll go through immediately. Links in the description, by the way, if you guys need it. It does help me out. If you guys do decide to use any of those things, using the link does help me. I do appreciate it. But I won't tell you guys to use. I won't give opinion on anything I don't use. So any link you see in my description is something that I actually use and hold. You'll see the LAPAL, which I use at LAPAL Cold Storage Wallet. You'll see Tangem, which I use them as well. You can get 10% off with my code LONGVIEW. And I use that more or less as a warm wallet replacement, not as a long-term cold storage wallet. And then I have Caleb and Brown for more of a white glove treatment with institutional custody. John's saying let it ride. Any other thoughts? I mean, it's at $97 right now. Any other thoughts? I already moved my stop loss to where it's going to be, what's that? I already moved my stop loss to a $50 winner, $45 winner-ish. So no matter what, I'm coming out ahead, which is always a good thing. Caleb and Brown and the 3.5% is negotiable on anything above 200K. I honestly think the biggest issue for a lot of people with YouTube who are coming across Caleb and Brown is because it does have a $500 minimum purchase. It's because they're actually using brokers to source the liquidity. Someone's going out there to get that at the best possible price for you. That's why you don't have to pay a spread. That's why they just charge the 3.5% fee. And like you said, if the larger purchases, they do negotiate that as well if you are a larger player. The only thing I suggest, if you want to check it out, please use the link in the description. It helps me out. Let's see. All right, still climbing. We're going to let it ride for now. Check out where Bitcoin is, and if that's going up, XRP will. Well, we're looking at Bitcoin right now. Bert. I mean, that's what's on the screen over here. It's just the Bitcoin futures. But that's what's on the screen right now. It's going down. It's going down. Meet me at the mall. But yeah, it's going down right now. I shorted it right at the beginning of the stream. Ah, you're a kid. That's fine, race fan. No worries. I'm not offended. I had to take my time. I had to make sure I had my LLC up and running. But yeah, I know I've got Bitcoin up on the screen too. I got the Bitcoin futures up on the screen at the same time, Bert. I actually have an active trade going on the micro Bitcoin futures during the stream. That's why I was talking about being up money. Kind of up money. I mean, everything's going down because I have a whole bunch of crypto. So even though this is going up, it's honestly just kind of keeping my portfolio flat right now. I'm still down. My portfolio is still down $100 for the day, even though it's up 116, because I'm making money as all the crypto is going down, unfortunately. But it's a good hedge. It's kind of like buying covered calls on your stocks. Again, not financial advice, but if anyone holds stocks for a long period of time, one of the things I do with that is I'll buy call options or covered calls, just to take a little bit of extra profit. There's all kinds of ways to skim and get an extra couple percent here and there that just most people won't even mess with. But the easiest one is if people are holding stocks is to buy covered calls on your stocks. It's literally the best thing. From left field, any thoughts on BitBoy, crypto, and his issues? I don't have any. I don't even. I'm gonna be. This is gonna be crazy to you. I don't watch a ton of YouTube. I don't even know who that is. I don't know who BitBoy is. I've heard the name. I haven't even looked it up. I probably should because he's highly popular. So I probably should have some knowledge on that. But I don't even know who that is. Being honest. I don't know who BitBoy is, so I don't know any of that nonsense. All right, so I know you guys say let it ride, but I mean, we're in oversold territory now, and I'm up 120. At what point do I cash this out? I mean, how far down is this going to go here on this run? I'll just leave it right under EMA. Hopefully it doesn't run back past EMA 9, but we'll see for now. See how it goes. I just lowered my stop a little bit so I got more profit if it gets stopped out. But yeah, I really don't watch a lot of other YouTubers when it comes to this stuff. So, I mean, every once in a while I'll check out a couple. But it's usually CNBC, Fox News, like stuff like that, or Meet Kevin. I really like watching Meet Kevin. I've probably said that a million times. He has great economic info. You're selling and playing again tomorrow. What are you playing, Steven? Oh, I forgot. I out of habit about to start vaping again. I try not to vape on screen, but we're going on almost 2 hours right now. I think my chat thing is messed up for some reason. Yeah, it's definitely messed up. Because this one, not sure if you addressed that comment that's still stuck up there. I feel like I answered that forever ago. Oh, you're selling and playing again tomorrow? Oh, I'm always playing. Well, that's the thing. I lowered it so that way I'm I'm going to get profit no matter what. It's just a matter of, do I think it's going to continue to go down versus, you know, do I think it's going to continue to go down, or do I think it's going to turn around is the question. That's why I just slid the stop down, so that way if it can run back up to EMA and come back down, you'd be taking that $120 profit. Well, you know, is what it is. No risk it, no biscuit, right? It sucks because I did miss the $100 move on the way up this morning. But this is how it goes. Race fan taking off today. We'll see at this. I've got it set. So that's what I bought 67,260. It's currently set at 66,740. So that's a $52 profit right now if I were to get stopped out way back here versus $123. But I don't know how low it can go. And I don't know why this chat bar is stuck up there. I'm sorry, guys. The chat overlay has been having issues lately for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it has been giving me a lot of issues. Still got 22 people going in the stream. Thank you for joining me, guys. Do we have anyone new in the stream today? Any new names? We talked to the whole chat. So basically the way the streams work for anyone who's come in late, basically the way the streams work is I'll go at the very beginning, usually the first 30 to 45 minutes, I go through all the information that I have prepared for the stream, the news, the information, what's going on with price, analysis, all of those things. And then after we get through all that, we do a live Q&A, then we do a recap for everyone who came in late, and then we just kind of have a hangout until we get tired. I started a trade right at the beginning of the stream today, so I'm kind of just waiting to see how it plays out, and some people are hanging out with me. We're keeping the chat rolling. So if you're here, feel free to talk, feel free to say hi, engage, join the community. It's more of a community channel than it is anything else. There's usually about 30 to 40 of us that are here every single day, and every once in a while we get some new people that come in and join us. But it's about building, this is more about building a crypto community that's here for the long view of crypto and dollar cost averaging and investing over the next 5 to 10 years. Oh, it's going back up. I don't like seeing that. See, that's making me sad. Price going up makes me sad right now. That's never a good thing. $23 people still hanging out in the stream today. What's everyone got going on today? You know, the weather today, hang on a second. I'm in Kansas City and it's February. And today it's currently 68 degrees and sunny. I don't know what the hell I'm still doing on here with y'all. I need to head out to the golf course while I got some daylight and 70 degrees right now. Oh my goodness. I think I know what I need to do with my $122 win here. I think I need to cash it out and go buy a round of golf. That sounds like a fantastic Wednesday afternoon for me. Make some money, go golfing for free? Heck yeah. Sounds fantastic. No one's talking. You guys are all quiet today. I know some of you are driving, though. I got you. If you're driving, you don't have to worry about it. I already know some of you are driving and you can't. I appreciate you taking your time to be here and keep the stream rolling with me. If you're here and you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button. I appreciate it. You like that idea, John, huh? Yeah, everyone's saying let it ride, but I think I might cash this out and go golfing. I mean, I just take my win and have a fantastic afternoon. Watch, it's probably going to go up now. Now it probably won't drop back down. I'm sitting there waiting for it. I wanted to at least go back down to 120 since I already saw that number. Probably won't happen, though. Yep, see, here it goes back up now. Son of a biscuit eater. That happens. That's part of life, though. It's part of trading. Ready for the week to be over. Heading on a cruise next week. Where are you going, Steven? Where are you cruising to? I've only done one cruise, and I did the Caribbean. I went to like Cozumel, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, or the Cayman Islands. I did all that when I was a teenager. I went with my grandparents, so I didn't get to enjoy the adult version of a cruise. I was a teenager, but it was still a good time though. I enjoyed it. It was nice to get out of the country and see a bunch of things I'd never seen before, and it was a good experience for sure. And now it's running back up. We're only at $100 right now. We'll see if it turns back around though. All right, while this is running, I've been on here with you guys for a minute. I just need to go run and grab a drink and use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back for you. And I'm back. Out of Galveston, headed to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Roatan. Okay. I left out of Florida when I left. So I think it was Galveston, Florida, actually. But I was 13, so that was, damn, man, that was almost 30 years ago. Holy crap, I'm starting to get old. I'm getting old over here. I want to see this go the other way. I think this is going to tap EMA and go back down. Just looking at the way this is flowing. That's what I think. That's why I set the stop above there. Again, just what I'm doing, obviously. Nothing for you guys to do. We trade. Come on. So I bought in at 67 260. We're 63 or 66 370. Anyone what do you guys do for fun? Other than, you know, your day jobs, obviously. What's everyone do for fun? I don't know why this chat thing's not working. It's really bugging me. I've tried to fix this. Like, it wouldn't work at all yesterday. And now it's not doing anything. It's not even popping up the new stuff. Like, what the heck? Yeah, you guys did tell me to sell. You told me to sell, huh, Raul? It's all right. I've got my stop here. I'm not going to lose money. I'm still going to make money regardless. See if it flips and goes the other way, though. I think it still can. That's why my read was it was going to fall down to oversold, then come up and touch EMA 9, and then it would continue to fall. And that's exactly what it's trying to do so far. We'll see how it plays out. We're back almost up to the 100 again, though. I mean, Oh, you guys aren't seeing it. I keep forgetting I switched the screens because I keep trying to fix that chat bar. See, we're back up to 100 now, ish. Down to 16 people in the stream. Anyone new? Anyone new hanging out? If you're new, say hi. The stream is dying down now, but we're literally just watching a chart, so it doesn't really. We've already gone through the meat and potatoes of the stream twice. So now it's just a hangout for anyone coming in late that wants a place to be. Feel free to ask questions. I'm just waiting to see how this trade plays out before I get out of here. Some people are invested. It's trying. This is how it usually goes. Like, again, if like, I watch this stuff, I watch these charts all the time. So I have a pretty good idea of how they like to move. So I can, if I wanted to, I could pick off like little $50, $60 trades probably all day long. Just scalping the moves, but that was the good old days. I mean, that's literally what I used to do in the mornings back in the day. Was I would scalp the morning 15-minute candle, and I would make $200, $300, $400 between 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then be gone. And then I'd be done for the day, and I would go do whatever I was gonna do. But when you're doing those kind of plays, that's a lot of leverage and a lot of risk. So you can lose a lot of money very quickly doing that. I don't recommend it to anybody, especially if you're just dipping your toes into this stuff. It's a good way to lose all your money. There it goes. Now we're back in the money. Now we're cooking with Crisco. Now we're back over $100. By the way, too, guys, what we're doing right here, honestly, this stream that's happening right now as we're talking is pretty much exactly what I do on my other channel. Let's see here. Let me get this set up for you. Really? The only thing that sucks about having two channels is I have to log out and log back in of all my streaming stuff every time, and I swear it messes it up. Longview computer. Okay. So my other channel is basically exactly what you're seeing here in this stream, except I'm playing video games on the side while I'm trading. Charles hung out with me for a couple hours last night while I was doing it and set up the trade for this morning. But that's just kind of like my hangout channel. So if you guys ever want to just hang out and you don't mind me playing a nerdy game in the background, and you can talk about whatever you want. We can talk crypto, we can talk business, talk anything. But I usually, whenever I'm, in my free time, I'm literally just hanging out, trading, playing games. So you're welcome to join me there. I figured I'd make a stream out of it for anyone who wants to do a hangout stream, kind of like what we're doing right now. Down to 107 now. All right, let's see if I fixed this chat bar. I think I did. Let's see. Did I? Nope, the chat bar is broken again. Day trading with dream dollars. Let me switch back to this. I was trying to fix the chat bar. Didn't work for me. I tried, but at least I got that other one down that was stuck. How low is it gonna go, guys? How low is Bitcoin gonna go today? What do you guys think? Let me know. Currently making money right now. We'll see how it goes though. How low is it gonna go? How much money can I make on this trade? It's going lower. You think 65,000, says John Bills. Well, we're at 66.1 right now. 65,000, that'd be a $225 win. I'd take that in a heartbeat. That'd be nice. $226 win if it goes to 65,000 from this current position. I'm hoping one day that, I don't know when, but as I'm doing this, I would love to get into a position as that's part of like a 10K run or a 20K run where I just keep moving the stop up behind it. I'd love to catch one of those when I'm in one of these trades. I haven't caught one in a long, long time where I caught like a $10,000 move. Who all's left in here? I know John's in here. I know Bert said he was driving. I think we have a couple people left in here, though. How many people are in the stream? 17 people in the stream? There's still a few of us left in here. I know John's in here. I know Bert's in here. I'm sure Sir Charles is sitting in the background somewhere. I know Raul was in here. Quelly was in here earlier. I don't know if Quelly's still here or not. The Longview crew, though. Missing Crypto Roger today. This looks like it's starting to round off down here, or is it going to go lower? It's making its decision point right here. What's the decision? CC and Canton Dat holding up well. Yeah, CC's always holding up well. That's why I love it. And welcome, God of Thunder. Haven't seen that name before. Thank you for joining us. We're just kind of hanging out right now. We went through all the information twice already. Usually, if you're new to the stream, I usually get through all the information the first 30 to 45 minutes, and then we just move on to a Q&A and chat, hang out while I let any trades play out or anything like that I have going on. So right now I still have an open trade, so we're all just kind of hanging out, letting the trade finish up. Raul's drinking some margaritas. I'll have my party favors when I get off stream. I do not when I'm in my other stream though, I partake in party favors though. Focused. Yeah, bro, found your last Canton live yesterday. Absolutely. Welcome, man. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's what I do every day. Literally, what you saw in that stream and what you're seeing in this stream is literally what I do every day, 6 days a week. So thanks for joining the community. Share it far and wide. Let's grow the non-hype crypto and get the word out about Canton, right? I mean, no one's talking about Canton Network. It's going to take people by storm, man. As soon as it goes on Binance and goes on Robinhood and goes on Coinbase, and people finally start really learning about it, because there's such a very, very select few that are even involved with it right now. But once people start understanding what it is and who's behind it, man, I think it's going to take off. Stephen Haynes says, can you tell us what you're actually doing here? What type of open trade is this? Like to watch your YouTube videos on how to do this. Well, this is a micro futures trade that's actually happening right now. I'm just doing it on Robinhood. It's very, very easy. Again, not financial advice. I can only show trades in public forums, and I can only show the trades I'm doing. I cannot advise anyone to enter any positions. I went and checked a bunch of legalities on this to make sure I don't get strikes or anything. I can't do this in members only live streams like I originally thought to, because members have to pay. So let's see here. Can you tell us what you're actually doing? So this is just a micro futures trade. I'm short on it. In order to do futures on Robinhood, you have to apply for margin. And in order to have margin, you have to have maintenance, which is so much money in your account to maintain that margin. So as you can see, it says I currently have available $5,500 of margin. They approved me based on how much money I have in my account. They approved me for 7,400 of margin, and in order to use margin, I have to keep at least $6,200 in assets that is not crypto in my account. And since I'm able to do that, I can buy a contract. Now, you can see here I have stop or limit, right? Which is long or short. So a limit would mean we're going up. A stop mean we're going down. See, stop buy. So, and a stop buy is green right here because I'm already short. So if I buy here, that's going to end my purchase and I will make money. And that's if the price comes back up to here. So, point being, this is futures trading. One contract costs like $1,800. But because of that, I basically, every $10 that Bitcoin moves, I move up or down $1. So for every $100 it moves, I move up or down $10, depending on my position. It's leverage trading. Futures trading is leverage trading. That's why you have to have margin involved. But that's exactly what I'm doing here. So they say you should never do a trade that's more than 1% of your stack. So for instance, I have, a little over $10,000 in here. So I shouldn't do a trade that's going to risk more than $100. That's why I always put a stop on as soon as I do it. And my stops are usually $50 to $100. So that way I never risk losing more than 1% of my stack. That's just me, not financial advice. Rolla says, what's the QMA today? What the QMA today? I don't know what QMA is. Got it done. Great to be here. Thanks. And yeah, I found Canton in December. It's been my only holding since. Yeah, I found it in December as well. And it quickly became my number 2. It quickly became my number 2 crypto when I found it. And that has done very well for me. It's past, I don't hold more Canton than I do XRP. But it has passed my HBAR, Ondo, and Chainlink very quickly. I accumulated that very, very fast. Because I wasn't trying to time tops or bottoms, and I just needed to dollar cost average in because I wanted to have a position because I think it's going to take off. But that's just me, About what dollar amount of crypto holdings? Oh, that's right. You did ask that question. I'm sorry I missed it, John. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I think anyone should have it. I think just about everyone should have an LLC. I think every person out there should have some kind of side hustle and an LLC. And when I say some kind of side hustle, it doesn't matter if it earns $100 or $200 a month. But the fact if you have an LLC and you have a business, the tax write-offs that become available to you to keep money in your household are incredible. So, I mean, you can have a side hustle that only makes, $10,000, $15,000 a year, but all of that money is written off and you use it for a company car or you use it for this or you use it for that. Like you can keep so much money in your pocket, in your household just by having an LLC, even if it's not like a super profitable business. So I would say, if you have any kind of, if you have any kind of side hustle that you can use to create income, you should create an LLC. And anyone can go create an LLC online. It costs you $50. You don't have to pay someone to do it. It's stupid simple. If you have access to Chat GPT or AI, it'll walk you through it. It's like 3 steps. Okay. So you can create your own LLC. You don't need to pay someone to do that. But when it comes to tax write-offs and things like that, I would discuss it with a CPA because every state has different rules as well. So I would discuss it with a CPA as far as your write-offs. But if you have any kind of side hustle that makes any kind of money, I think you should have an LLC and start looking into tax write-offs. That's just me. But that's why I don't have a car payment. That's why I don't have credit card payments. That's why, I don't have any of those things. Makes life good when you don't have to pay for a bunch of stuff that could be tax write-offs. But I wouldn't look at an LLC necessarily just for crypto. I would look at it as second source of income. And again, you can always discuss it with a CPA and they'll tell you exactly what's going to be best for you. Anyone who's looking, like, creating an LLC is easy, but if you're looking at tax write-offs and you have a significant amount of money, hire a CPA. Just, it's a good $400 investment. Okay? Hire a CPA, it's a good investment. Especially if you have the amount of money that you have to worry, if you have the amount of investments and you have the amount of money that you have to worry about LLCs and you have to worry about tax write-offs and you have to worry about those things, then you have the money to invest in a good CPA. Don't try and shortcut that one. Don't try and shortcut the CPA. So that's, I mean, I try to give people a playbook of ideas, not necessarily direct advice. It's kind of the way I do it. It's like, okay, in your situation, well, you should talk to this person. You should try this angle. They'll tell you, I don't have all the details. Some of this stuff is so completely specialized. Like, I don't know what my CPA does. I don't have a clue what he does half the time. He told me to bring him the receipts for this, and that. I brought him that and I didn't have to pay for it. You know what I mean? So I just know what I've done in the past, whereas the specialty advice is going to come from actual CPA. That's not what I do, but I can tell you what I've done. I can tell you some of the things I've saved money on and how, and point you in the right direction. It's kind of the goal. I'll be a compass for you guys. How about that? I'll just point you in the right direction. I'll just be the compass for the questions. Like, you need to go here. See, this is stepping up. Yeah, it's wanting to. Come on, turn around for me. You're wanting to, I can see it. I feel like this thing's about to fall off a cliff. Like, it's just been building in this area for about 30 minutes and hasn't done squat. Come on, turn around. I want to go golfing. Turn around for me so I can go golfing. Free golf sounds nice. Such a quiet chat today. I love you guys. Don't get me wrong. I love you guys. But I miss having 60 people in the stream. The chat was just nonstop when we had that many people. I'm waiting for the markets to come back. When the markets come back, it'll pick up again. When the FOMO starts picking up, more people will start diving into it. But yeah, man, when those days when price is running, when we get 60, 70, 80 people in the stream, always feel really good. The energy is just infectious. It keeps me going. It's just quiet now, so not many people are going to stay in the stream because I don't have anything entertaining to do, unfortunately, to keep you guys entertained. We're just watching the price tick. I'm out of info. This is where sometimes, too, I've been looking to try and find someone to collaborate with so I can have someone to talk to in the stream. Because if I had someone else to talk to about crypto and we could go back and forth and actually create a dialogue, I could go all day long. Whew, 13 people. We're dying. We're dying. We're dying. All right, guys. Well, we're down to 14 people. Price is doing a whole lot of nothing. We were going to sit here and wait, but it's literally been chopping between $110 and $90 profit for about an hour, it feels like. So we'll go ahead and hop out for now. Here in a little bit, I'm probably going to go play. Oh, it's turning around. Never mind. We won't hop out just yet. Is it turning around? It was turning around, I thought. Acted like it was going to. I'm going to get out of here and go golfing, darn it. I want this thing to turn around so I can lower the stop and get out of here. Because if it starts turning around and goes below this and sets a new low, I'm bringing my stop down to $100 and I'm out. I'm going to go golfing at that point. So if it gets below 65.9, if it gets below 65.9, I'm going to lower the stop to roughly 66.1, and then I'm going to go golfing. That'll guarantee a $100 profit and let it still move. No golf for you today, maybe a Happy Meal. Oh, we'll see. We're at a $100 winner right now. After you become a financial advisor, would you help us try this? I would have to look into the legalities of that. I'm not sure what the rules are on advising people to enter trades. You know what I mean? I'm not sure of the rules of that. But again, you guys can always see what I'm doing in my personal life and do your own education and do your own research as well. But I don't know the answer to that question, Raul or Steven. Excuse me. I really don't know the answer to that question. If I'll be able to help put in buy and sell levels on technical analysis. Because I know that's considered financial advice, but I don't know. I'll have to look into the legalities of that. Because I know I can tell people, I can help people, once I become a financial advisor, I can't, what's the word? I can't custody their assets. I have to have a third party custody them, but I can make purchases for them. So say for instance, if I was a financial advisor, someone could give me their money and I could invest it for them. But that would be assets under management, and I'd have to use a third party for the assets under management, where I would have to go through some kind of other thing like a Schwab or JP Morgan or some crap like that. I'll look more into it. Those are bridges I was probably waiting to cross till after I finished taking my test and got my license. You know what I mean? You gotta live life too. Go golfing. Yeah, I'm going to. Don't you worry. Well, actually, I'm only going to go to the driving range. I don't think I'm going to be able to play around a golf because it gets dark at 5:30 still. It's already 2 o'clock here. So I'll probably go to the driving range for an hour or so, though. Hit some balls, get some warmed up, get the old man joints lubricated, get ready to go. Oh, man. Plus, I haven't swung a club in probably since August of last year. So I need to go to the driving range a few times before I even think about going to the course anyway. I'll be spraying it all over the damn place. All right. Well, I'm going to lower my stop. There's only 13 of us. It's not looking like it's turning around. I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go to the driving range. I locked in, looks like $60 a profit. So not a bad deal. Worst case scenario, I'm going to make $60 and we did it while we were streaming. So it really wasn't much of a thing today. So it could still go higher. I'll let you guys know how it turns out tomorrow. And then other than that, in the meantime, I'll see you guys at noon tomorrow. Later.